Welcome to another edition of Crime News with Mark Solomon. It is Tuesday, September 28, 2021, and today we're going to do a brief touch on the Summer Wells missing little girl. Terrible situation. We're also going to talk about the Brian Laundrie manhunt. Now that Dog the Bounty Hunter has gotten involved, we're going to be talking a little bit about the R. Kelly trial, which did conclude with a verdict of guilty. We're also going to be talking just a touch on Tom Girardi. Stay tuned. But before we get to that, don't forget, let's get to the Summer Wells case. She is going to be featured on an issue of In Pursuit with John Walsh. This came out last week on the 24th, but it will be playing tomorrow, Wednesday. So they're going to be talking a lot about what happened back on June 15. They're going to be talking about how in Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, they have no new news to report to the public at all. And so they're saying they haven't given up and they continue to work daily with what happened, but they have nothing else to talk about. Very sad. If you have any information, please call that TBI tip line, which I hope to put here. Next, let's talk a little bit about the Brian Laundrie manhunt. We're talking about Dog the Bounty Hunter. I saw these articles sometime last week, and one of the things I thought was the most funny was that he was saying absolutely nothing of use. He was talking about how he really needs to know about this guy. He needs to know about where he goes, what he does. He wants to talk to the family to see what they can tell him so that he can go looking. And I thought, well, how is that any different than what the FBI is doing and the local police in Florida are doing? Sounded a little useless. But here we go. He has now found a campsite, which is possibly linked to Brian Laundrie. And he did this by talking to the family. He saw some photographs. He went looking. And apparently, this campsite is actually one where he thinks that Brian Laundrie was staying. All the links that I'm going to show you are in the description. And one of the things that you're going to just read these articles. I think you'll get a kick out of them. And when Dog the Bounty Hunter, and also Brian Laundrie's family called the police on Dog the Bounty Hunter too. So there is that. There we go. Brian's mother called 911 on Dog the Bounty Hunter. He said he wants to help capture Brian Laundrie alive. Audio emerged Monday indicating that his parents called to report the presence on their Northport, Florida property, something that people are not allowed to do lest they be trespassers. And the female called 911, heard on the radio saying that he referenced a situation with the male. And there's a picture where he has joined the manhunt and purportedly has received over 1,000 leads on his tip line that Dwayne Chapman has created. So that's an interesting development there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about R. Kelly. He was found guilty in all of the sex trafficking trials. Here's an article I'm going to link to in the description. He could face up to 10 years in prison. And 54 years old, he was alleged to have inappropriate relationships with minors and moved them around. That's the sex trafficking. But interestingly enough, regardless of what he gets in this sentence, he is still facing more charges. He is looking at potentially another case in other states, which include child pornography and so forth. So his legal woes are not over, not by a sight. So he is looking at that time in prison, but he's also looking at more trials in other states. Last thing we're going to talk about today is Tom Girardi, which I thought was an interesting suggestion by one of our viewers. I haven't done any videos on it, so I'm just going to touch on it today. And if anybody wants to hear more about it, please put it in the comments below, and we'll do a deep dive. I'll do a full expose on both Erika Jayne and Tom Girardi, and we'll see what we can find out here. If there's any good information that you folks would like to know about, I would like to tell you. So here we go. This is an article from just last week where Tom Girardi says that he thinks Erika Jayne knew about his legal woes. And if you don't know, he was charged with the theft or embezzlement of, I believe it's up to $2 million after the client funds that were due to the families of those killed by the Boeing 737 MAX Lion Air Flight 610 crash in Indonesia. And so when he took that money, apparently Erika Jayne was put in charge of some of his assets, and that helped shield him. And next thing you know, she's saying she's not giving the money back. He's saying this is a problem. And he, I feel, is trying to stay somewhat relevant here. But there he is saying in an interview, I think that she knew what was going on, which helps to implicate her potentially in at least the liability and the money. So here we go. Her repeated denials. Other housewives have joined the chorus of accusers and said that she heard of Jayne and Girardi's financial woes at Andy Cohen's baby shower in 2019, alleging that she owed her late ex, Dennis Shields, $500,000. And here it is. He has spoken on his legal struggles for the first time. I'm not going to go too much farther into that. What I will say is, interesting situation. She's on TV. He is trying to stay. He's 82 years old. He's not in great health, and he's kind of old, and he does owe a bunch of money. From what I understand, he has lost his law license and now is literally just trying to get along. But that's what I've got for you today. If you've got any thoughts, feelings, comments, please put them in the comments below. And until then, love your suggestions. Thank you so much for watching.